Yeah. Shall we continue? In the last class, we were talking about strings. We just started strings and then we started understanding slicing. So let's continue on the same. Okay. We'll go ahead with that slicing examples and all that different types of slicing and everything. Yeah. Let's continue. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? So,
Yeah.
okay, then if my audio is clear and screen is visible, we'll just continue. Okay. So we did these examples yesterday, like, how to extract a value from index of a string. And then we had seen some examples as well in yesterday's session. We can see all this right. So if you see that, we have already tested these examples. Okay. Then next up, iterating a string. Even this example we had seen yesterday, how to iterate a string, you can see that, and how to print it char by char. We did discuss yesterday, even this example. Next after that, slicing, extracting, or something. This we had discussed again the concept of slicing, and we have here a simple string of the Bachchan, and so this is negative slicing, right? Okay. So maybe we can check few more examples. We can test on this as well. So that because this is something really important, having such kind of examples are helpful for us. So suppose you have a string Amitabh Bachchan. Let's try this and work on this. So we already had enough, coverage on slicing, but just let me quickly share a few more examples and let us test it and then we jump to the next topic. Okay, let's take this. You can see here, right? So I'm taking another string here, which is what we call Amitabh Bachchan. Let's take this. Okay, I put it in quotes so you can see this. So now, what is that here? If you see this, it's a name of 0:6. So that gives you Amitabh. Similarly, we are doing few more slicing examples, like what is that? Something like, zero. So these are all simple things. Let me just directly test it again and replace all this with and also let's print each and everything here, print image. And then after that, let me just try to print remaining all print. This should give you the first string in Amitabh. So you can see that we have two strings separated. 0 to 6 gives us Amitabh. Similarly, 0:-3. So what is that 0:-3 gives us? Let us just see that. Okay. -3 in sense, you can see, right? It takes up to somewhere around what we can say. 0 starts from A and -3 will be -1, -2. It will be still up to
H.
H. Okay. So that is what it should print us. Let me just test it now. So even this example is just to show you that in this 0:-3 example is to show that we can have a combination of positive and negative indexes. You can see that, right? We have forward index and reverse index. And we can do combination, but generally, that combination should be from it should be in forward in nature. Suppose we have to take it 0, something -3, or something 1 to -5, or some 2 to -1. So everything in forward direction is fine. Forward means from left to right. Right? You can have any combination from left to right. The exact thing is left to right. Suppose I took -1. If I take it as from -1 to 0, This may not work for us. Are you following, friends? What is it? Suppose I started from right to left. The indexing I am giving it from right to left. Right to left. That doesn't work here. If you try that, you don't get any output for such kind of examples. Let's do that as well and just observe that. Sorry, that those scenarios as well. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'm just closing this. So now let's try this. You see here 0 colon minus 3 and then minus 1 to minus 8. You just see this print of name of minus 1 to minus 8 and then print of. We'll just test all this and just get some a bigger and a clear picture. So name of 1 colon minus 8 and then print name of instead of S because we just changed it to. And finally, the last one, print. Need to change this. Okay, that's it. Now the first one is fine. This should fetches Amitabh probably 02. These are 6 characters here. Yeah, this will give us Amitabh. So it fetches the first name of Amitabh. Similarly, the second part 0 colon minus 3. It starts with 0A and it should give us till H. Okay. So then till H in sense should be the second part generally is exclusive. We'll see in the output. Minus 1 to minus 8. So minus 1 to minus 8 means it starts with from here. Okay. And it ends with somewhere around, so at the 8th index in reverse, in reverse order. So we'll see that in the output. This probably, I doubt if this works. We have to see that. Okay. So now after that, 1 colon minus 8. 1 in sense it starts from M and then minus 8 in sense somewhere around, you have to see that indexing minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 7, minus 8 means it should get up to B here. So you have to understand the indexing in terms of this format. Okay, leave about the example code spear. You can just see this is the format. Okay, so let's run this example so that you get some idea which are working, which are not. You get a clear idea. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm running this. So the first one you can see somewhere. We started with the first one 0 to 6. That is Amitabh. We are able to get it. The second one 0 colon minus 3. We got it. Amitabh BACC. Okay, that is where this minus 3 index is. It comes till this C. You can see that H is the end index is exclusive. This we had discussed number of times. Yes or no? Yeah. And then minus 1 to minus 8. I just made a clear this thing, right? So always slicing from left to right will work for us. If you try to do slicing from right to, I mean from right to left, from right part, you see this one minus 1 to minus 8. You don't see any output here. It's giving us blank. Why it is giving blank? Because slicing from right to left is not going to give us any output. It doesn't provide or yield any output. Just keep this important point in mind. Okay, so this is important point to remember. Apply slicing from left to right. You can see that again in the diagram. Leave about the example. Just observe the forward index and reverse index. You can take a combination of 0 to minus 7 or 2 to minus 2 or some 4 to minus 1. But suppose I say minus 1 to 4, don't expect it gives us spear. You got it right. So don't expect that, something like that, because that indexing don't work for us. So that's why here in this example, minus 1 colon minus 8, it's not producing any result here. You can see it's not sharing any result or output. Even this one, 1:-8. Why we 1:-8? Even this is not generating any output. Why? Because this is 1. Okay, this should work for us. Let me just put a cursor here, right click. Not there. Maybe we can put it here. Let's debug it. It has to come 1:1 is this one. This is the first index. -8 means it should be around somewhere this. Okay. So it's stopping here, and when I go to the console, yeah, I think we are getting the output as a Mitab. You can see here, Mitab. Yes, it's coming till this. This is working. 1:-8 will work for us. Amitabh Bachchan has almost, you can see, these are 6 characters and Bachchan. So Bachchan 6 plus space, that is 7, plus again this is 4 plus 3, 7. So 7 plus 7, 14 characters are there in Amitabh Bachchan. So this definitely gives 1:-8 is a valid indexing because it's still in the forward direction, not in the backward direction. So in this case, this is the output we are getting, Mitab. Okay, finally this is working. And 1:-1 again. So we'll do one thing, otherwise the best thing is add a debugger in the beginning itself. The best practice to identify how it is executing in each step. Let me run this now in debug mode so that we can observe the output for each example. Okay, you can also see in the console here. It just started. We'll go line by line. So it's printing the first one. We get Amitabh here. You can see that we got Amitabh. And also this, when I print name, we got the whole name. Next after that, the second one, 0:-3, what it is going to give us. It gives Amitabh BACC. Next is the third one. You can see that. So -1:-8 doesn't give us anything. So we got a space here. That's why you don't see anything. Next after that. So you are going to 1:-8. It is giving us Mitab. Okay. And then again 1:-1. You are getting this. You can see Mitab something Bachchan. It's starting with 1 and ending with the -1 index. So definitely this is the output for that particular slice. Next, finally 2:1. So I doubt this may not work. Okay, let's run this now. So you don't get anything because this is again as mentioned, right? I doubt this will not work. Why it doesn't work? Because the indexing generally should be in the from left to right. That slicing, I mean the strategy we apply always should be from left. It should start from left and it should end with the right. You can take any combination. You can take positive and negative combination or anything, but always it should be in the left to right direction, but not from right to left direction. And if you apply, you have seen many examples. Suppose you see this example, we see that this is not working and it's giving us an empty output. You don't just it's giving blank in the output. You can also try few more examples. Suppose you say, let's start from assuming that I put -1. Okay, so and then I take something like, in the middle, you might have some 6. Suppose I put -1:6. What is this? What kind of this thing we are doing? Name of -1:6. So do you think this is going to work? So we are expecting what is that? -1 is nothing but it starts with n, right? Because the reverse index starts always with -1, -2 like that. And then it has to stop with 6. 6 means from 0 to this thing, it will end here with the B. At least we should get So if this ends with 6, at least we should start with this one. Which one? With till this space we should get the output, but definitely this won't work. You can see we don't see any output here. See there? So for just quick testing, I just add a simple test. Okay. So that you get a clear this thing. You got only test in the output, but you don't see the any result for this slicing. Sorry, friends. Why don't we see any result? Because we are trying to extract a slice from right to left. That order don't work for slicing. You can try with as many examples as possible. Did I make this point clear for all of you? This is important point to remember when you apply slicing. Slicing always has to go from left to right with any combination, positive index, combination of forward index and reverse index. Any combination is fine. Combination of positive and negative indexes, how we are doing here, that is also fine. Something like 1:8 or 1:-1, which are valid combination. Suppose again you put everything and again if you ask me, it won't work. That is why we are taking time and we are trying to understand this. Do I make this clear for all of you friends? Do I make this clear? Okay. So that's the idea about the fundamental of slicing here. Understood, no? So this should give a clear idea. Again, these are also same examples. We can skip them, okay? And this is another simple example of slicing. Just to split this, suppose we have singers. It's again same thing. And for these kind of slices, you using split function is better recommended than applying slicing here. But it's okay. In just few minutes, we are going to talk about split function as well. So you take singers here. Let's take this down. You can try this example. Suppose I want to split all this by comma. Then we should get the length of Peter, length of Paul, length of Mary. Okay, and then you have to apply a splitting. So for that, anyhow, we have example. I'm not spending much time here because I made clear how to do this slicing for you. So 0:5 gives you Peter, and then 7:11 gives you Paul, and then 17:21 gives you Mary. So if you want to just extract some substring from a string, this is how you can apply slicing. All and you know the important rules, right? I mean, kind of important points. What is that? Slicing. When you do slicing, always make sure the slicing always happens from left to right order, not in the reverse order. It won't work for us. Reverse in sense, you can do reversing of a string and you can do all that. But order, I have explained clearly how to extract that slice and the order of adding that start and end indexes and how that arrangement should be. That is clearly discussed. Now right click, run this. Now you can see that. So we have Peter, Paul, and Mary. So that is how you have to do. So 0 to some 5 gives you Peter, and then 7 to 11 gives you Paul, and then 17 to 21 gives you Mary. Of course, I have a one question. I'll ask this question once I complete this so that you get this. This is also important thought process. Okay. I'll come back to that. Banana thing, anyhow, we did now discussed about this is important one. I'll take one scenario for this one to understand this thing. You can see that this particular one, this example, this we didn't cover. I just put, you can see there, print of fruit. We didn't mention anything here. We didn't specify anything. No start index, no end index. Then what happens? Does it give any error? Answer is no. We don't get any error. But what happens? It just gives you the whole string as is. Means by default, if you don't specify any index here for start index, then it assumes it to be 0. And if you don't specify anything in the end index place, it assumes that as the end of that string. You got it right, friends. So if I run this now, see this. You get banana directly. See there. Are you seeing banana in the output? So means this is even this kind of slicing is valid And if you don't specify anything start and end, you mean that you are trying to extract the whole string without from the beginning of string to end of string. And for example, suppose you see here, there are few more quick examples. You can see that. This is discussed already in yesterday's session. Suppose I put some 4 here and I didn't mention anything at the beginning. We didn't declare anything for start index. In such case, it assumes the start index to be 0. Okay, right click and run this now. By default, it assumes 0 and then it slices till 3. 4 is exclusive, right? We had discussed this number of times. And then we get banana. So, sorry, we got banana. Whatever that slice extracts, that is in the output. Suppose there is another scenario. What is that? Print. Last I'm just ending with this. Suppose I start with 4. Okay, and just put colon and just leave that end index empty. That means I am saying that start with 4th index and extract slice the rest of the string, right, till the end of string. When you just leave this end index position empty, it means you are asking to extract that string till the end of that string. You got it right. That is another important scenario. You can see that you got now. That is the remaining. Understood now? This is how you can play around slicing, and this is very, very important. Definitely, I play around this slicing a lot of times in my day-to-day coding. Next, after that is this example you can skip for now, friends. Okay. Now, again, we had discussed all these different examples. Okay. So now we can jump to real scenarios. Where am I applying this slicing in my development? Once I'll just explain one basic scenario in my day-to-day development. Suppose I have a file name like this. This is actually the real scenario which I work day to day. I have so many COBs in my database. Okay, I mean I have at least some 2 TB or 2.5 of TB of data in all my lower lanes. In prod, I have around almost all 20 TB of data or 10 TB of data. TB, terabytes, not GB or GIB. Okay. So one common thing I keep working is, so I'll see that what is that about. I try to get COBS information, what we call dates. Okay, when I say COB, it means dates, and inside that for some folder, some path that sometimes, not all times, usually the data stores in the form of a date. That data resides in the date. But some files will be created like this. Something it has some prefix attached, some suffix attached. Sometimes this date comes in the middle of some prefix and suffix. But my goal is what? My goal is to extract only that date. I don't want that prefix. I don't want that suffix, or I don't want something as a prefix and suffix. Even I have data something even like this with all prefix attached like this. In such cases, what is that I do? I just simply apply slicing. And this is the common practice we do when we add some rules in the rules for that database. We archive data. There is a Python file where we try to apply slicing by using this slicing into the code, by adding slicing in the code. You got it right. I just put it because so you get a real analysis of how this slicing is helpful. Are you following, friends? So what do we do? You can just take one or two examples and you can give it a try. Suppose you take this, okay, and you try to slice this. You can add all this code, something like this. Okay, and similarly codes for second string as well. So what is the need here? Need of the hour is just I need to slice exactly the dates, the COBs. So how do you get it? Simple. Something like we just generally, if it is me, what I do, I just see that where is this COB starting. So A, B, C, D, E, F. After 6 characters, the COB starts. So probably from sixth index onwards COP starts, I can simply say here I can put some 6 colon, and it gets me fetch a rest of that COP in COP on date, rest of the date. Are you following, friends? Am I speed or is my speed okay for all of you to understand? Is this speed fine, friends? Or
Yeah, yeah. It's
do you think
yeah, it's good.
I'm going fast or anything? Let me know. We can just slow down as well. But generally, I think I'm going a bit slow. That's what my opinion. But let me know if it is wrong. So this is a simple example, see. And this is a real example which I apply most of the times. Even yesterday, we have someone, we have a strategic partner. We got, okay, we have this resources from Accenture. I was training him actually. And even for him, I told, suppose when you have data like this, you have to do extract test like this before you add that into the rule. That's what I'm saying him. Of course, he did well. He's a good guy. That's fine. Now you can see that I am able to get this date, extract it perfect, right? This is perfect. I am able to extract the date or COB perfectly. And this is what is needed. That is the need of the hour. Again, I need this COB from the, I mean, the date from the file too. How do I get it? Just simply, right? By default, date have 10 characters. So then I just put it till 10, file name 2 of just, I don't need to mention beginning because, by default, it assumes the start index as 0. If you don't specify any start index, now right click and run this, you can see that. Perfect, right? I am able to extract even this date from the beginning of that path. Next, similarly, the middle one. So middle one again, what I should do, print. So this start index will be, it starts from 6. Okay, so you can just copy this, paste it here. I'm just showing you the real usage, how you can play around that thing. I mean, so here you put 6 colon. Anybody has questions? Yeah, if you have questions, I'll come back to you. Okay, Naveen, probably it's Naveen. And then 6 to probably try up till 16 because in a date by default we have 10 characters because after doing so many times on that thing, right? 4 characters per year, 2 characters per month, 2 characters per date, and then for hyphens we have 2 more. Altogether we have 10 characters in a date. Okay, then let's test this last one. Maybe here and there we need a slight change. Let's run it and see that. Perfect. It's good. We don't need to make any changes. We are able to extract it perfectly. Right? This is how you can play around slicing, friends. Of course, there are many scenarios, but overall slicing is cut, slice. The purpose of slicing is just cut and get something. That is the simple scenario. Yeah, I think Naveen is having. Do you have a question, Naveen?
Yeah, sir. Let's say
Yes.
like if you have multiple files inside a folder,
Okay.
when we are looping it, so this
Hmm.
logic won't work, right? Because in each and every file, these positions of the year, date, month
Correct.
is keep changing.
Correct, Naveen. See, again, see those rules what we declare, it's a separate rule for each path. You got it, Naveen. The example I am saying is not just common, which is applied on common paths. Okay. But again,
So instead of this, can't we try with the pattern matching kind of, so that works for all other
correct.
scenarios?
So that is again the next scenario. So pattern matching, definitely we are going to discuss about that, Naveen. Where do we need pattern matching? There are certain scenarios. Even I think I added those scenarios as well in the code. Yeah, you can just give me some time. I'm going to talk about that as well, Naveen. But to
Yeah.
answer your question, yeah, pattern matching in sense, not in all cases we apply pattern matching. You got it right. You don't need that as well.
For
And
this examples, let's say if you have played a pattern matching kind of like first 4 digit and then hyphen next 2 digit. So then wherever if we have that positions inside a string, so it
Okay.
matches and it fetch only that particular value.
That is again a different scenario again. I'll come back to that where we are applying pattern matching. Suppose, so this is about, I am talking about a date path, okay, and then or a data path which is having date as something, and how do you extract it? And the topic right now is not about pattern matching, just to be very clear. Okay, what is the topic I
Yeah,
am discussing here?
the slicing. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I just
firstly.
told because for this scenario, we have to like give the
I,
different.
yes, yes, I agree that, Naveen. But what I am trying to tell, we are going to we are discussing the topic slicing, not pattern matching. Is that clear? That is the first thing. Second thing
Yeah,
to yeah, because I am talking about slicing, I am only taking the examples of what slicing and dicing examples, not pattern matching examples. Is that clear?
yeah. Okay, sir.
Okay. Then again to answer, to go to the next level of this discussion. Yeah, I generally apply. So there are many cases where I add pattern matching. Where is that? Again, I'll take one scenario because you brought that question to the picture. Let me tell you. For this scenario, what I am explaining is for some specific rule where we cannot apply pattern matching for that rule. We have to provide a proper slice for that. That depends on need and necessity. You know that, right? Suppose getting into pattern matching example. Okay. So what is that here? Pattern matching, we have a date something like, where we apply this pattern matching. We have something a date dot bkp, or there are different backup files that is attached to the date, like, something like this. And we see that wherever there is date, and if it is have any extra these things, I'll just give one example where we keep doing this. I try to report all the backup files because they are something which occupies more space. Something like, we have different date patterns. I mean, different kinds of extensions they live on dates. Okay, so this dev themes. Okay, something like backup or back something like. Okay, just leave like this. So this is one scenario. You are asking about pattern matching, right? So to just first match with date, we apply a pattern matching for date, and then after that, generally what they do is they use some underscore hyphen underscore. Then we add a pattern like, if it is having any extension underscore or hyphen, we try to fetch all that dates with pattern matching. You got it right, and then we try to put it into a backup folder, and then we ask dev teams to do that cleanup. So this is a scenario where I generally keep adding this pattern matching. But for this particular slice scenario, we generally don't apply that because that is much more specific to each rule there. So that's why adding pattern matching is not going to help us much there. You got it. I'm talking about the scenarios where we are working. Is that clear, Naveen?
Yeah, okay, sir.
Okay. So again, see, this is okay. Generally, this is something which we discuss where we discuss in regular expression topic, not in slicing, Naveen. Again, when we go there, we revisit this topic back. Okay. So, does that make clear for you? Are you clear now?
Yeah. Yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay. Mm. So, but anyhow, see, whatever we are discussing is slicing right now. So let's keep that pattern matching for future sessions. Okay, definitely I'll talk about that pattern matching there. Again, we'll take a scenario, same scenario. How do we apply pattern matching for this date validation? Okay, let me jump to the next topic. So now after that string, what is this? We don't have a direct reverse. So about reversing a string. So generally string is immutable in Python. What is immutable? We cannot modify a string. Every time we try to change that string, a new object is created. So that's why this reverse method is not directly provided in string, but still you can do that. Yesterday I had discussed, right? Suppose if I want to reverse a string, what is the simple strategy? You can just take it as something like, suppose I take fruit. The easiest way to reverse a string is colon colon minus one and assign to some variable. This gives you reverse of a string. You can see here. Now that banana is reversed here. Right? Similarly, but one thing important in strings is we don't have a built-in method to reverse a string because it's immutable. Okay. Now after that, so this scenario anyhow, I already explained mutable and what is immutable, why string is immutable. So this example talks about how this string is created internally, how that memory management happens with string. Suppose you take this example. I use to better explain this, I am going to use, okay, let me do one thing. We have a Python console inbuilt inside the PyCharm itself. Let me use that. Okay, it started. So now you can just take a string here s1 equal to some hello. Okay. Again, s1 equal to, you can take it again hello. Again, sorry, I think I should say s2 equal to hello. And s3 equal to, take it as hello. Now if we had discussed this example, friends. Okay, hello. Okay. Now you print s1. Okay, you get hello, s2 you get hello, and s3 you get hello. Now ID of s1, see this now. So ID of s1, you can see that. Again, when you check for ID of s2, so what is that we are going to see in the output here? We see the same address. Suppose you see ID of s3. Okay, enter. So what is that we see here? We see the same address here. Right? For all these three strings, hello, for s1, s2, s3, the address is same. It is not trying to create a different address for each string. Why? Because string is immutable. Once we create a string like this, right? It just creates a copy for that string, right? And then next time if we declare same string again, it just simply copies that address of existing string into that new variable. Okay, so to quickly explain this is discussed already. So because string is immutable, and when it is immutable, we had again clear discussion, but quickly explain this for you. So this is we declare a string s1 equal to hello. Okay. Similarly, we have it two more times. S2, S3. Now what happens for the first time if you create a object for hello, you can see right. This is the object for hello. And hello sits inside this object like this. So it should be small h, not capital. So what happens? An address is created. Assume that it is some 1000 or okay. Let's make it. Let us put it as 1000. And this address is stored into S1 now. 1000. Now S1 is pointing to this address. This one. Okay. Fine. Now, second time you are trying to declare S2 equal to hello. This time your interpreter doesn't create a new object. Now what happens? So it will simply, now you have S2. When you try to declare S2, it will check, it checks, this interpreter checks if this hello is already in the memory. If it is there, just simply copies this address of that address of this one to this S2. Okay. Simply assigns address of existing object, again that 1000 to S2. Now S2 is also pointing to which object? To the same hello object. And even now, by now you should get a clear idea. What happens with S3? With S3 again, you see that we declare hello. It creates a new, I mean, it just declares reference here, and it checks that if that object already is there in the memory. Yeah, it's there, it's already there in the memory. Then what this interpreter will do, it just copies that address of that existing object to S3, and this continues again and again and again. Okay, so and now even S3 also points to the same hello object. So this is the what I am trying to explain in this example. So talking about what is that? So what is immutability and how objects are managed in memory? Okay. So what happens when a string is immutable? How many copies exist for that if you try to declare same string? Okay. And what is that? How this memory management happens? This is called string interning. String interning means for the first time it creates an object, and from there onwards it will create an intern for that object. Intern means it just refers to the same object by the multiple variables we declare. This example should give you an idea. So as string is immutable, immutable means we cannot modify string. That is the meaning of immutability. So what it will do, it efficiently manages memory by applying a scenario what we have discussed, right? So that's the example of this. So I try to just declare multiple objects and ask a simple question. How many objects are created in the above declaration? Right? For this declaration, after listening to this discussion, it's like a quick MSET question. Okay. So how many objects are created here? Can someone answer? One object, three objects, six objects. What is the answer here for this example? So overall, with this example, you should understand one thing. We should have how many? Just six objects, right? That is the answer. So overall, for this example, if it is ABC, we just have only one object created, right? Not more than one. Not three, not six, but it will be just one. Maybe if you have any doubt, you can check IDs, then you can see there. Understood, no? So that's the overall idea of what is that string immutability, how strings are created in memory, how they are efficiently copied to other references or variables, right? And all this. Next after that. So this is the basic fundamentals of string. What is string and how it is, how the index of string look like. What is slicing? How do we do slicing? Yeah, whatever Naveen mentioned, pattern matching. Definitely, I'll give a good coverage and multiple examples for pattern matching. But that is not the situation now. We are talking about slicing, so I let's not deviate from that discussion. Now, after that, iterating. Iterating thing we had already discussed how to iterate a string and all that. So I'm just skipping that part as well. Okay. Now functions of string class. This is also very important. There are times where we use a lot of built-in functions. And this is very important to understand. The first thing you can take an example, ABC, and I want to find length of string. So before I go to this topic, let me explain. Generally, we have two types of functions. Built-in functions. I am talking about built-in or predefined, not user-defined functions. So one is generic methods. Generic in sense a method that can be applied directly on a string. Okay, suppose example is length. Length is something a common method, and this is not inside string class. This length method is not present inside string class. String is a class by default in Python, not just string. Anything is a class here. And this method is not inside string class. It is just a common method. And this is applied on string. Not this is not inside string, but a method that is applied on strings. Do I make it clear? So even this max, this min, this sort, these are all generic or common methods. we not only apply these methods on strings, we apply on list or we apply on tuple. I believe we apply on this. This can also be applied on dictionary. Okay. And even some of these methods can be applied even on set also. So something which is common for all data structures. Understood now? So let's get into the examples now one by one. So functions, suppose if something is inside string class, another type of functions. These are all common methods. I have clearly explained how they look like. If it is inside string class, other type of functions, functions which are part of string API or string class. So they are functions in string class. Call these through string variable or string reference. We say that string dot that variable dot variable dot. When you do that, those methods are present inside string class. I'll show you all those examples now. Now let's go ahead with the length method. What is length here? Length returns length of a string. I got it right. It returns length of a string. Okay, so this is very simple example. Let us take it here. I'm going there and testing it now. I'm using same this thing, or we can create a new file for this. Let's just take another file. String methods. Okay, I put it as a string underscore methods. But till this, do I made it clear for all of you? Can I get an SR no from you friends? I till this, whatever the string introduction we had, the fundamental we discussed. Are you good with all that discussions we do? Right? Okay. Next after this is string methods. Let's start with all that string methods. Suppose I want to get a length of a string. Okay. So you can take, you are using length method here. You can take any string. Okay. Suppose I take nom take. Okay. A simple string here. Now I want to get length of this. We have 8 characters there. The easiest thing is there are 2 scenarios. Applying now you are having some base for doing some kind of programming as well. We'll just add one small coding scenario as well so that you can slowly improve that thinking of coding. The easiest thing here is the easiest way of finding length is apply length method, just len. That is a built-in one. So you can just take it as length 1 equal to len of s1. You can say that. And then just print that. Okay. You can just add a format string and then just say hey, length. The length is I am just adding a bit of texting here. Okay. Description. Okay. And then just adding this. And this is the very simple and the easiest approach of finding length. Let's run this now. You can see we have it. Perfect. Suppose I want to have a custom logic for this. What is that? A custom logic. How do you implement this custom logic? So simple. All of you know how to iterate this string character by character. Yes or no, friends? Do we know how to iterate character by character by using for loop? Yes, right. For some ch inside that s1. Okay, colon. You take one variable, you can just name it as a count and set it to 0. And here you don't need to print or anything, just say that count plus equal to 1. That's it. Sorry. So this is a custom logic to find the length of a string. Of course, in real time, you don't need this. Already you know that there is length. You don't need to create this. But I'm just showing you because just to apply what we learned so far. If I want length of a string, simply iterate that string, take a count variable, set it to 0 before reinitialize it to 0 on top of loop, and then iterate that string character by character, increment count every time that loop iterates, and finally this gives you, I'm copying the same print and putting here. So this is actually writing a custom logic, very simple thing, right? The count is, I'm just changing it to count or length in this scenario is same, and just change the variable length to count. So this is a small example how to build a custom logic for length. Okay, right click run this. You can see this same output, but approach is different. Even length function, the API of length is implemented in a similar this thing. You can go and check that because Python is open source. Even you can view the code as well. That's possible. Okay. Now I hope I made this clear for you, friends. Okay. Next after this, let's go to the. So I just want you to think in this kind of dimension as well. That help you a lot. Okay. Next after that. So next length is over, and write a program to find the length of a string. That we are clear now. Reverse a string. To reverse string, we had discussed this number of times. And there are different ways of doing reversing. One is applying slicing directly with -1 there. Second thing, this is something which I am trying there. What is that here? To reverse a string, of course, we can, let me take one string. With range method, so you can take something like, again, I use the same string. I use nomtech to reverse it. So what is that I need now? I have to get with for loop for some to do the this thing I in range of, okay, range of what? So first to reverse it, we have to set our index to which one, friends? The last index. So let me try. But what is that? The start index should be some. The length of this is 8. You can just add something like 8 comma and then -1 comma, and this step should be -1. Let's try this one. Suppose if you want to dynamically get length and add that, then you can just add here that LENGTH length one. You can just choose this variable. Suppose you are doing a dynamic coding and you don't want to rely on any hard code or static code, static values or hard coded values, then you can choose length, which is dynamically generating length. You can pass it as start because that gives you the length of that string. And then the second thing, this is the start index and index, and the step should be negative. Right? We did discuss this yesterday. I'm just applying how we can use for in real scenarios. Right? You might have this feeling that real-time coding is something extraordinary we do, but trust me, all these scenarios which we build here, if you are really hands-on with all this, then you can play around any code in any kind of real development. Okay, now you can see that I'm iterating this from 8 to 0 and applying a step -1. Suppose you print it and print that I here. So not I. You have to print that S1 of. When you say, you can see there, I am applying indexing and the indexing starts from S1 of my 8, S1 of 7, S1 of 6. So now you understand how that works. It points to the end of string and then we are trying to iterate each index from right to left. But this is possible because we are adding a programmatic logic here. We are not doing this with any slicing or anything. If it is slicing, definitely right to left doesn't work. We are very sure on that. Now, right, run this now. Right. So string index
Length
out
of
of.
-1.
Okay, I'll do one thing. So out of range instance, it starts with 0 and ends with 7. So, but what did I do? I put 8 here. Length is 8, right? So I should say length -1. Now this will work for us. You got it right. Why this error? Because index starts always with 0, ends with the size -1 or n -1. It ends with 7. But length gives us or count gives us a straight answer 8. And I'm trying to iterate this index from S1 of 8. That index don't exist here inside this string. And if you try to extract a value or a character from a string from non-existing index, right? Or from an index that doesn't exist, it leads to index error series. Another important introduction. We are trying to understand what is this index error. Whenever you are playing with this kind of sequential data structures, this is quite common. We see this index errors. When you see that, just remember you are trying to extract something from, right, some not a legal index but illegal index. Illegal means that may not exist, that is not properly declared or something. So what I have to do now, I have anyhow, I reset my code. I just made it, I mean, proper. I made it good. Now I can run this now. Now you can see that it is reversed. So you can see there, right? Gnome tech, yeah, perfect. Then some of might ask, a few might ask a question. I am just showing you how to build coding and all that, along with understanding all this. Suppose we don't need character by character, Manoran. We want that all in a single string. You got it, right? That reversed string should appear as a single string in one line, not like character by character. In that case, how do you, I mean, how do you handle such kind of logic? Okay, you can just add something like this. You can see here. This time, while you can take an empty string here, some s2 equal to, you just take empty, no space, nothing, don't add anything. And then you can just add a simple this thing here. Of course, these are all s. I'm just giving you different ways of playing around data. Okay, s1 equal to, sorry, s2 equal to s2 plus s2 plus that s1 of I. Okay, this is called concatenation. What is that? This is concatenation. Every time we iterate, we are trying to add that whatever the string we are extracting, we are trying to get it and try to add it to the S2. Okay, now let us try to print it and see how this is going to. Okay, let me print it S2. So this should fetch us, right, concatenate all the strings and assign to S2. And this should give us a this thing, friends. I mean, the whole concatenated string, not character by character, but in a single line. Let's run this now and see. And you can see that. Okay, perfect. Now, what is that? I just add a simple text here to make output more readable. So the reversed string is, you can just add it as a S2, put a braces here, and then okay, and then end the quotes. Understood now? So this is how you can play around data, friends. Understood? Run this now. Perfect. The reversed string is, you can see that now. This time you are getting expected results, right? So this is the problem. What is that? This is the requirement. What is the requirement? I want a reversed string, not as character by character, but I want it as a whole string like that, which is reversed. Then we can write a custom logic for that. But of course, the easiest way is, again, you can just simply play around that some S3 equal to, so S1 of colon minus 1. See how simple this is. I am also, we are just playing around, just giving you different ways of, right, playing around this thing. Okay, the reverse string is, and then you can just keep S3 here. Now you get same output, but different approaches. You can see that there is no iota of change here. Everything looks same except what is that the strategy changed. Suppose you see, this takes time for us. If you are a beginner, you have to think about this positioning and all that, and then that indexing and decrementing all that thing. It may take a while for you if you are a beginner. But if you are a pro, you generally opt for this one rather than doing all this, because in real time, how do you do is not important. What is that? How do you get the output is important. But in as a learner, we have to have idea of all these scenarios. But at learning stage, we don't have substitute. You have to learn all this if you want to be a pro in your coding. Okay. So next after that. So we are done with, I'm going a little bit, so I gave you a thought process of how you can play around. This gives you a, yes, Naveen. What is the question?
Uh, yeah, sir, I think we can do one more thing. Like instead of printing it, the each of the characters in the new line.
See,
Uh,
Naveen, one thing. It's not like going with finalized solution. If it is a development, definitely I'll do what you are trying to tell me. You got it right. So the here what we are trying is we are going scenario by scenario, like how to build character by character, and then how to just simplify with that with the custom code, okay, and then get it in a single string, and then how the other way of doing. So we are trying to understand, working on different examples, Naveen. Understood? So it's
yeah.
not like, see,
So
if it
what
is
I
a,
was saying is, instead of the separated slash n, if you put like a space or something, like everything will come in a one line in the character.
yeah, you can test it, Naveen. That should be okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you think that that is good for you, you can give it a try. Understood?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, but overall, the thing is, so we are trying to understand different ways of working around these examples, so that this helps everyone to build their foundation. That is the idea, right? If it is a direct solution, I can directly come up with that itself. Okay, so I can just go there itself. So, but that's not the idea, because we have to have different people from different levels of understanding programming. So keeping everyone in mind, I'm just planning out these examples so that it helps them to observe on different approaches. Okay. So if you have more than that, you can just give it a try. You can work on that in your machine itself directly. Understood, Naveen? Next after that. So length is done. Okay. And then we have slicing we did discuss. So another important scenario, friends. What is that? These functions. Okay. So what are these functions? This char function, or and this is ordinal function. Length anyhow we know. These two. What is char here? These are two different built-in functions, which converts an integer to a character. Okay. ORD means converts a character to integer. So you can also try these two methods as well. I think I have some examples here. If not, I'll cover them. Let me just go with this flow now. So another example, length is done. Lower. Generally, sometimes I keep applying this lower, this upper. Okay. And this count example here is different. The example which we tried here is okay. Okay, we just applied count here. Okay, this don't confuse this count. This is just for getting number of characters. Okay, let's me apply first lower method and then upper method, and then we go to the count. I'll explain that clearly. And then find and index. We'll go one by one. So now I take a string, something like, some name equal to. So upper method here. And then another scenario is lower. You take a string here, something like name equal to. We can take some beautiful example. What is that? Harry Potter. Okay. Now I want all these characters in this name in lowercase. So the easiest thing is just apply. What is that? You can just choose this format string again. So I just add here lower of name is. So what is lower of name here? You can directly add name here, right? And then What is that you should do? You should say lower. Understood now? That's it. So when you do this, suppose if this string is uppercase, it converts to lowercase. That is one thing. Suppose if any other uppercase characters are there, they should get converted to lowercase. Let's test it now. And the last one, you can Harry Potter, you can see that H and P got converted to lowercase. Suppose I take another one. This is name one. Okay, let's take another example. Name two. So suppose I want to convert this to upper, just choose this as a, and here just change this variable names, okay? And here just change it to name two. And these are all simple examples. So I'm just showing you how to play around them. That's all. And there are scenarios. Best thing is, while I was working in Hacker Rank, not now, sometime back, okay, I see that there are scenarios which covers on all this uppercase, lowercase, right? And then mixed case. And there are so many examples. The scenarios they give definitely is very helpful in Hacker Rank. Give a try on that. If not, I will add after this topic is completed. We'll have one example which covers all this. This lowercase, uppercase, number of special characters. Okay. Number of I mean this alphabets, number of digits. There are so many things like that. Okay. That example is also very helpful. Okay, let me run this now. This whole string Harry Potter, it should be converted to uppercase in this last run. You can see that. Similarly, these are all very simple examples. So I don't think we need to spend much time. Next after that is a mixed swap case means very simple. Suppose by looking at this example, Vidatri, you can see, right? Swap case instance, uppercase letters are converted to lowercase, lowercase letters are converted to uppercase. That is swap case. Okay, converts lower to upper and vice versa. So that is swap case. Suppose you see here, you can take the same Harry Potter example again. So, and here just change it. The upper of name is description. It doesn't fit to that example. So I just changed it now. Name three. So what is that here? We are applying the swap case of name is swap case. When you apply swap case, it just changes. Okay, lower to upper, upper to lower. Let's run this. Somebody can you please go on mute, please? My dear Lion, can you go on mute, please? Simha. I'm only muting everyone, okay? So he's actually, I know him very well, so I'm just saying him. Harry Potter, you can see that. This is swap case, friends. Understood now? Next after that, that is okay. Find, this is very important function. Find and index functions. So what is find function here? Find means, let me just show this. The purpose of find is to find the index of a character. Both methods are used to find index, but there is a slight change. I'll explain even the difference as well. So what is the next scenario? We are going to talk about. This talks about all these three methods generally focus on this on uppercase and lowercase and swap case. They deal with exchange of cases. Okay, fine. Now next one. We are going to move this example to another scenario. What is that? Find and versus index. First, I'll explain what is find, what is index. Both are same. Index. Okay, now. So suppose you see both are used to find index of a character. This is very useful method. Suppose I want to find some index of some. Suppose I want P from Potter. So how do I get it? Simply, I can just simply say name for dot find of. I just pass that P here. Okay. If it is uppercase, pass uppercase P. If it is lowercase, pass lowercase p, and just change the description here. So the index of that p is, you can just add that, okay? Okay, and then just try to print it. Now you can see that it's fine. Now when you know this, how to apply this kind of methods, your life become easier. How it becomes easier? Suppose I want Potter, I don't want to count from beginning of that to the p. I want dynamically get the index of that p. Then I can apply this find of p. You can see. Let me just show you. I'll just do a slicing, right? With in a dynamic approach, I don't count and I don't add it, right? I just want to make it dynamic. So what I do is name for of, what is that? I just choose this method. Of course, you can assign it to some variable and also add it here. That is fine. Colon. That's all. Now I run this example. You can see that. Now I got Potter from that Harry Potter. But this time I choose a dynamic way or a dynamic approach of getting this. What is this, friends? This particular substring. This P, I didn't count. Usually you see in all these examples we did so far, what did I do? I counted like, starting from 0, 1, 2, 3 something, and then I came to put a P, right? Which is nothing but in fifth index or something. And then I put 5 and then add something after that for an index. So that is actually the manual approach. We call that as a manual approach. But this is more dynamic approach. You got it, right? So this is sometimes I follow this approach when I do my coding or automations. Is that clear now? So that is the idea, friends. So Harry Potter thing. So this example should also give you a thought process. Okay, if I use find, I can directly find index of some character and then just put it in this slice so that I can get a substring. This is the idea. Understand now? I'm just sharing everything. So that is needed for a developer to build a mindset of a developer. Just keep that in mind, friends. Okay. So now after this, so index. So what is index here? Index also same thing, but we'll come back with examples. Even index do the same. You can take it as name file, not an issue. So or else we can remove this. Okay. And then just apply is the find. What is that? You use same index method. Even index gets the same. Remove this. Okay. What index does? It also gets index of a character or a substring. For a substring, it returns beginning character of that substring. Not because we cannot have multiple indexes. The starting index of that substring. Okay. I'll show you that as well. Not an issue. Now I am applying same. We are rewriting the same thing. Find with index and see what output it generates. Okay, let's me run this now. Now you can see that even for P we see the find. What is that? We are using a different method here. Then you ask me a question. Someone like Naveen, right? If you ask a question, then what is the difference then between find and index if they both are doing same job? There is a slight difference. What is that difference here? You can see that here. When you see find returns -1 if substring is not found. Suppose if substring is not found, this returns -1. Whereas index returns value error. Again, we ask a question. We didn't understand anything here, Manoram. Okay, let's do it in a practical this thing. Okay, let's take an example of same. Okay. Now you see that not index Harry Potter, instead of that I put index of him. Do you have M in Harry Potter? I am trying to find that. Okay, for a character, I am searching something like a magic in Harry Potter. I want index of him. But that M don't exist in Harry Potter. Now, if I run this, I am applying index method. See here. Okay, the last example, the last print, observe that. Okay, run this now. Now you can see that. Are we not seeing any output there? It should throw an error for us because we don't have M, right? I think even it didn't run at all. Okay, because we should see that output there. Let me rerun again. Run index. You can see this now. Value error. Can you see the value error? Why? Because this character doesn't exist inside this string name 4. Then index method returns the value error. Understand these errors as well. So if you see today, it's not just about strings we are learning. We are also having a track of all errors, like index error, why we get that, value error, why we get that. Okay. Similarly, there are many such errors we keep seeing. And please, my humble suggestion to all of you is keep a track of all that. Don't ignore them if we just see error. Have understanding of those errors. It helps you a lot in future. Okay, in exception handling. So next, what do we do? Let's apply find. For the same example, where I had value error, we do one thing. Let's put this index thing at the end and let's add find it before that so that we can go with the proper this thing here. Find. Right click, run this now. Now you can see there, till you can see this. Index of M is, what is that? But M is not there not present in Harry Potter. So it returned that index as -1. If it is a negative index, nothing is there. That particular character or substring is not present in that string. That is the meaning of this. Suppose if it is there, right, it will just give the index. And if it is find method, it returns -1 if a character or substring is not present. If it is index method, it throws value. Understand? So that is overall idea, friends. So this is all about index and I need to discuss one beautiful method that is my favorite method among all this is what is that split method. What is that? I want to get, it's not there here. Not a problem. Split method. Suppose I have a string like, something like name 5 equal to. So I have something like John, Peter, okay, something like Samson. I put something like this. So I'm adding a name like this. Now, John is first name, Peter is second name, some Samson should be the last name. Just assume that. I want to split this, right? So if you should split, before I jump to this example, all of you are fine till this, right? All of you are fine? Okay. So now what do we do? What is split function here? Let me just add here. Now we are going to talk about another function after we completely discussed about that split function. As name says, splits the string by a delimiter. Yesterday, I think Ravindra is asking me this. How do we do this first name and all that? That split, the easiest way is applying split and we can use that delimiters. That space or hash or semicolon or colon or comma, whatever you think, that is there in that particular scenario, in that data set, sorry. So whatever that is there. Now, how do you split this this string into 3 tokens? As name says, splits a string into tokens. It simply splits a string into tokens or words. You can just take it as words. So what do you do? How do you apply? Very simple. You can just simply say name 5 dot split. And as it is space split, you can see all these strings are split with space. You can just declare split function and just leave it like that. Suppose if you want it, you can just add a space inside this. That acts as a delimiter. What is there inside split function? We should pass a delimiter. Now the delimiter is space, I pass space. Suppose if it is comma, you can pass comma. Here, just instead of this, you put comma here. But now that is not the delimiter, the space is the delimiter. Now what split does? Split will split this string and assigns all that tokens to some. It will return a list actually. Split this string converts this string, these words into tokens in that string, and then put it into a list. And that is the return type of the split function. Split returns, what is that? It returns a list actually. Okay, returns list. So what is that we should assign? We should assign to some list here, tokens. You can just add something like, tokens list here equal to something. You got it right. Now, if you print it, you can find that you have a list of tokens here, tokens list, and right click and run this. Okay. So, are we seeing output? Okay. We are not seeing it because we have an error here at this point. What do? We just comment this. We already learned this, right? Because of index method, it throws error, and at that particular line, your code is going to break. Till then, all that line, statements in the code gets executed, and once it comes to line 45, that code gets breakdown. So to avoid that, I'm commenting this so that this is the culprit which is stopping my execution. Sorry, friends. Now run this now. Now you can see the output. You can see there. All this that string got converted into split into tokens like this. Suppose I want to print it word by word. Simply what you have to do for some word or some token. Okay, simply again, that token is a dummy variable in again that data structure. Now what you have to do? Print that token. You can use for loop again. So this from here onwards, most of the time we forget while and we always keep using. Most of the times I'm saying we use for loop. Okay, right click and run this. Now this is John, Peter, and Samson. Understood now? That's the idea. So this is how you can print word by word. All of you are clear on this. So you can test all these examples yourself. I'm sharing in the chart. So Ravindra, you got it right? Maybe if you have anything more, we can work on that as well.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, this is overall this thing. I think we'll stop here today because we have enough coverage today. Okay, one point is, see, whenever if you have